Okay, hi Geminis, and welcome to your June 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on, wishing you a happy birthday for those of you aging up this month. What a wonderful period of time you are moving into. Thank you all so much for coming on and checking out this reading. Okay, so I'm going to be telling you about the intuitive messages I'm getting for the month of June, as well as look into a week-to-week tarot forecast for you, followed by an extended reading on Patreon, which will be linked below. So, Gemini, June 2022. A new era is ushering in now. We have this new moon happening on May 30th, and that will be quite the line of demarcation between the previous way we were utilizing our energy and the next way. So, the way that one utilizes energy, the way that one is utilized by another person in work, in relationship, is likely to change up or likely to be seen in a different way. I've been talking a lot recently about how it's getting more and more difficult to be placed where we don't want to be using our energy in ways that doesn't feel right anymore, to basically force ourselves to accommodate a certain previous status quo becomes more difficult in June. And it's almost like this Gemini season is kind of ushering in a tower moment for a lot of people, whereby the previous structures may fall through. And we may be finding ourselves in a place where we have to innovate new ways. So I want to prepare you for that, Geminis. That is part of what your sign rules over archetypally, is communicating ways of innovation, means of innovation, and beginning to even enjoy the process of the previous overbeared situation start to decrease or reduce itself. So there's a major reduction happening. There's a lot of things being erased, deleted, or removed from situations. Even economically, there are certain businesses or financing and things like that that are just kind of disappearing, leaving, no longer viable, no longer meaningful. So it's very wonderful, Geminis, for you to think about what is no longer viable in your own life, in your own personal economy. What do you need to reduce, limit, or reclaim even as well during this time, as you have a reclaiming to do. The Fool, the Chariot, and the Star coming up as major arcana cards. So you are embarking on a new journey. You're entering into some kind of vehicle. Something is changing your location or your energetic status. And you are also having true healing happening with the Star coming up. So mixing all of that together, that looks like a pretty big shift in regime for you. So your personal habits might be changing. Your health habits might be changing. And you are called to change something, okay, with the Chariot coming up. And when I was shuffling for your reading, the Chariot flew out first. So I was like, okay, that's card number one. And that makes me think that the Chariot is probably the most meaningful card for you this month. And the Chariot is about strapping in and zooming along. It's about being pulled in a certain direction. It's about being wanting to kind of chase after a certain dream, goal, or incentive. And your entire season is giving you a lot of solar energy to probably apply to what you're pulled towards. So I think that the main theme for you this month, Gemini, is not blocking yourself from pursuing what you want to pursue, not saying no to your dreams, not saying no to your callings anymore. So with that in mind, at the same time, there is a want to stabilize or to structure a better security. You've got Five of Pentacles. You've got also the Seven of Pentacles and the Six of Wands. So it's you want to just have automated savings. You want to just have predictable income so that you can have the confidence and compelling stature to keep growing in a predictable way. So how do we balance those two situations? Predictable growth and the need for totally new structures and situations. That is hard to answer, but as I think about it more, I think that they are synonymous, okay? I think that the innovation creates the fertility or generates the fertile ground or paradigm with which you can actually have a much more predictable kind of growth. So it is important this month to maybe rewire a little bit along this line of like, okay, I have to do what I've been doing forever that I'm sick and tired of in order to have predictability, in order to grow, in order to be secure. There is still an argument for a hybrid kind of experience, having some of the old predictable stuff alongside some of the newer innovative stuff, especially as it gets off the ground. So I support that, and I think that that would be interesting for you to move into. Though, does it take a lot of energy? Yes. And you are at the same time called to receive more energy now instead of spend so much with the star coming up. So some of you are kind of shifting this lever a little bit, like from the old tried true productive stuff and moving that lever just slightly more to this new innovative stuff, but maybe not, scrapping either of those things or pushing it all the way to one side or the other. But it does look like definitely, yes, a more concerted shift over to innovation and newer structures in your life, while still maintaining some of the old, but less perhaps than it was in like February, March, and April of 2022. Otherwise, intuitively for you in June, Gemini, it is likely also to become more popular. There's definitely a likelihood of celebrations. Beware of excessive birthday spending or celebration. You've got the Five of Pentacles and the Six of Wands coming up right together. So there could be a want to, really blow the bank with your celebrations. So keep mindful with that. And also, I think that you want more stillness, okay? Because there could be like a vertigo or some type of dizziness if you're like swinging around too much or moving around too much. But, I think that it's also an adjustment period because you might have had to like work a lot harder than you have to now before. And it's kind of like the universe is inviting you into a more receptive space where you have higher popularity, where you have more security coming from the new, innovative aspects of your life. And that shift is happening this month, and it's going to be more of a shift in mindset than anything else. Otherwise, intuitively, yes, you are taking stock. You are maybe kind of summing up who has lasted, like who has been trustworthy for a long time, with the Seven of Swords reversed coming up right next to that. Like, I recommend looking over your relationships and seeing, okay, who is repetitively or rhythmically problematic, who has betrayed me multiple times, who has been there for me multiple times. It's good to take stock for relationships and other aspects of your life too. But yes, let's talk about your week to week. Okay, in the first week of June, you have the Chariot rooted down by the Seven of Pentacles. So the taking stock will still continue into the first week, but you are then needing to really move forward and not have to be in that place for much longer. So the planning and strategizing and summoning of new information based on, the current of your life should not be sapping that much energy from you now or requiring so much deliberation. You want in the first week to have some sort of active pull, okay? What are you pulled towards in the first week of June? Just keep an open mind about like, what do I love? What am I in love with? Who do I love to be around? What am I always seeking out for entertainment? Sometimes that's a window into purpose. Your entertainment or the music you're drawn to or the media that you just naturally move toward can sometimes show a sort of subconscious viewpoint about like what you might want to do or how you might want to structure in the future. Also, are you drawn to the past or are you drawn to people from the past? Are you drawn to fix relationships or effect any type of closure? That could be an interesting thing to pursue now as well. In the second week, you have the Fool rooted down by the Seven of Swords reversed. So starting over. You could be having people reaching out to you wanting to start over, extending an olive branch, and make sure that those intentions are pure and try to not be so forgiving to some people. That's a weird way to word it, but like, be careful of not analyzing or not taking stock of what really happened or, forgiveness is always important, but the Seven of Swords reversed can sometimes indicate either, not the best intentions. Maybe somebody wants to be forgiven by you and that's all. They're not really interested in, moving forward, they just want to hear you say that you forgive them because they can't handle like their conscience thinking that you haven't forgiven them. So it could almost be like a ploy, or it could. So watch out for ploys. Watch out for people who are trying to basically coerce a certain confirmation or shift from you that basically just helps them get good with themselves and doesn't really have anything to do with appeasing you. We want to really be aware of that with the Seven of Swords. It takes empathy. It takes emotional intelligence to identify it, because some people are not that transparent right now. Okay, we're coming from that like Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces situation that happened over the last few months. And we're all getting our sea legs in the new Jupiter in Aries, which I did make a video about. I'll link that below for you all if you haven't been able to see that yet. But, X-ray vision is a great asset right now. Knowing people beyond just their mannerisms or their words is important. There are a lot of things or people or emotions or sentiments being displayed in ways that they might not truly be felt. Okay, so fakeness, keep an eye on it, and try to just move away from these complications, because it is difficult to know one way or another. And we need the lighthearted Gemini archetype to be out and about, not the heavy-hearted one. So if you do have anyone like come out of the woodwork, from the deep past, wanting a certain response from you, try to probe that and try to level with that. And if it feels right to give that, like if you truly feel like you want to issue forgiveness or you want to issue some type of closure, that's always great if it's like natural, but don't let it be unnatural, or don't like just give it because somebody wants it. Okay. We have to almost start to reassess our boundaries a little bit, I think, in June. Just because there's a demand for something does not necessarily mean that we need to supply it, okay? Just because there's a supply of something doesn't necessarily mean we need to go buy it, okay? Some people are quite blind in their consumerist ways, and that can even translate to relationships. So keep an eye on that, okay? Week number 3. 5 of Pentacles, rooted down by the star. A lot of healing starts happening for you in the 3rd week, like at the end of your season and moving towards Cancer season. There is just an understanding of the greater worldview. It's great to get the microscope off of ourselves by the end of June. Okay, otherwise Cancer season is going to be really, really like people are going to like not be able to leave the house, or they're not going to be able to, coexist with other people very easily if they can't just realize, okay, there are like billions of other people. My situation, while certainly difficult in many ways, is my situation, but I don't have to worry that much about other people, trying to subvert me or trying to create difficult situations. There's a kind of a culture of like fear around like being victimized by another person or being taken advantage of. And yes, I know that always happens in relationships, but I think that we need to see the bigger picture now, and we need to really zoom out and understand that, I'm probably safer than I think, or I'm probably not needing to worry about some of this as much as I have been. So deep, repetitive, paranoid worries seem to disappear or dissipate starting in the 3rd week. And it's because it really makes us feel impoverished, when we don't allow ourselves security, especially if you have like a super type A personality, or you're always like obsessively kind of thinking about details or wondering if things are right or wrong for you. That type of mentality is not as supported now, and it makes us feel very poor, okay, if we're still in that here in June. And that's why the star is coming in for you. It's offering you a healing space with that. And what can you do to heal that type of mindset? You can get into nature. Okay, that's a great way to do it. It kind of helps us to get out of our, 4 walls and realize that the earth is a living, breathing thing. That helps with, obsessive thinking. Another thing that helps is any type of hiatus, sabbatical, or break from things that trigger that feeling or things that are the source of that feeling. And another thing that helps is to understand what those sources are and how they've deprived us of a certain bigger goal or a certain, more important thing for us to do. I often find that people with any type of obsessive thinking or paranoia, fear, or just lingering feeling of dissatisfaction are oftentimes like refusing themselves entry into a certain gate that they need to go through, or refusing themselves access to a need that they have. So it's like the need goes unmet. It creates kind of like a dehydration of sorts of energy, and that starts to generate a lot of like symptoms, physical and emotional, that start to like nitpick and scan for problems because it feels like something's off. So take a look in the third week or anytime in June at what you're not satisfying, okay, and what you need that you're not getting, okay, because that might be the cause of a lot of these overthinking, nervous thinking, obsessive thinking that a lot of people have right now. Week number 4, Geminis, you have the 6 of Wands rooted down by the 7 of Wands. Okay, chronological order, good. You're kind of getting back into order there. And I think that you're taking all that you can from that healing experience of the star, having as much time to yourself, having as much time, near the water, in hydration, alkaline scenarios, okay? And then in the 4th week, you are just like back on track, it seems like, and confident and above the previous battles. Okay, so you're gaining ground, you're getting onto higher terrain, and you therefore have more natural momentum working with you. 7 of Wands is not always a bad archetype. To me, 7 of Wands, while we can identify some opposition, while we can identify certain battles, we also see that momentum is working with us. And because we're on that higher ground, we have the same power as the 6 other people beneath. Okay, so it indicates an elevation, and it indicates, not having to worry too much about any one thing, too. Yes, it can indicate like having to deal with a lot of moving ends or loose ends. It can indicate feeling as if many people are not on the same page as you. That's the negative. But the positive is like you're on higher ground, so it doesn't really actually matter. Okay. So you're getting some level of, maybe, what is the right word? I was going to say like superiority. There's like a feeling of that, but that can also turn into a complex, inferiority, superiority complexes. So keep an eye on that. Also with the 6 of Wands, it's very egotistical, but maybe a growth in ego could be good for you, or maybe a growth in self-confidence really is in order at this time. That will, I think, help you to kind of overcome some of these, people of the past or emotional difficulties that you might have been going through. And ultimately, I see most Gemini people as very, very lucky, okay, for the oncoming solar year. It's going to be easier, I think, for this next year ahead for your sign as compared to the previous, 3 or 4 years. The Capricorn vibes ever since 2020 has been hard on Gemini. And now with Jupiter in Aries, that's going to help you a lot, all right? That's going to give you a lot more drive, even a bit of a competitive streak, and a lot more energy, I think. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And I am going to put together an extended reading for you all on Patreon. I will link it below. And in the top right-hand corner, I will find a central theme and 2 supporting themes. And I will detail a little bit more about what I'm feeling for you for your year ahead and just for the general Gemini archetype now. So I'll have that in the center of your screen as well if you want to check that out. If you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button and thumbs up this video. And I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you're doing with a comment below. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great month. Bye.